Alright, how's it going? I'm that Ginger Photographer, and if you haven't already guessed from clicking on the thumbnail and reading the title, this video is going to be all about the Canon R6 and just my thoughts on having it after 6 months. It's been about 6 months since I posted that first video. Absolutely hated it, couldn't get used to the viewfinder, couldn't get used to the camera itself, it was crap. I hated it, gutted that I'd got it, regretted buying it in all honesty, although I never said that on video. I was kind of really bummed out that I'd spent so much money, and this is just my thoughts on having it for 6 months and where I'm at now and whether I love it or not. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. When I first got the camera, when I started getting used to using it again, my busiest period started picking up and I was actually learning on the job. I was using it on jobs to learn how to use it properly. Didn't really have the time just to sit at home and practice photographing birds in the garden and stuff. I was actually using it on jobs, which was a bit of a risk, but go big or go home, I guess. I say that now, it'd have been absolutely crap if it had messed up and I've had to reshoot any jobs. That might have happened one job. Other than that though, it's been absolutely great. So I'm just going to get straight into it. Now I'm going to be going into all the things I love and hate about it. Do I hate anything? Maybe not. Really quick favour to ask, if you do enjoy this video and you do find something useful, please hit that like button. It'll help get this video found and seen by other people. Then I'll be dead popular, not like school where I was on my own. So for starters, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm just going to come out and say I absolutely love this camera. Absolutely love the Canon R6. Never misses a beat. It's amazing. My notes just say it's amazing. Talk about how great it is. I do have one problem with it, and I'm going to talk about that at the end of the video because I think I was a bit unfair to the camera when I made my first few videos about how much I disliked it, because now that I've actually got used to it, as you do with anything, once you get used to using something, it becomes second nature, and that's what's happened with the Canon R6. It's just amazing. Now that I can use it properly, it's amazing. I totally regret ever slagging it off. I hope it still likes me. So when I photograph a wedding, I'm shooting for 12-13 hours. I'm there from bridal prep until about 2-3 hours after the first dance, so 10-11 o'clock at night. So it's a long day, and the Canon R6, I would happily shoot a full wedding on the Canon R6. In all honesty, it's my main body now. My 5D Mark IV was my main body, and one of the first reasons it's my main body is just the lightness of it and the compactness, and it's just so nice to hold. It makes the 5D Mark IV just look big and clunky and heavy and unnecessarily big. I'm only joking, baby, I still love you. And because of that reason, when I'm wearing my harness with two cameras hanging, it's just light and it's nice to pick up, so it's my main body now. The second thing I absolutely love about it, which I hated in every video I mentioned it, is the face detection. That eye detection is absolutely superb, and I finally figured out how to be able to change the eye that you're focusing on. I think mine's the only video on YouTube about it because it's got like thousands of views now, so other people were having the issue, posted a video about it. A lot of you might be here from that video in all honesty, but that face detection on the Canon R6 is great, and if it's focusing on the wrong person, you can click one button and switch it to the person you want it to focus on. Once I learned how to do that, it was an absolute game changer. I'd say a lot more of my images are in focus properly, focused on where I want it to be focused on, than just using back button focus on the Canon 5D Mark IV and just hoping that that person hasn't moved out the focus range. Because with the R6, when you're looking through the viewfinder, you can see the little square where it's focusing on the person, and if you recompose or if they move through the image, you can see that it's tracking them and it's always focusing on them. So a lot more images are actually in focus and are obviously therefore usable, and because of that, it's just upped my game. It's upped my photography level in all honesty. So much more choice throughout the pictures, not just blurry, 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 this one's in focus, blurry, blurry, blurry. It's just a sequence of in focus photos, and for that, I'll always love you, Canon R6. I do want to point out that usually when you watch these videos, they've got the R6 there and they love it and they stroke it and they caress it, but I'm filming on it at the minute, so you'll have to make do with imaginary R6. And just off the back of that, I couldn't get used to the digital viewfinder. Obviously, I've gone from DSLR, mirrored body, to this mirrorless Canon R6, gone from the 5D Mark IV to the R6. Could not get used to that digital viewfinder at first. It took me so long. I thought it was laggy, didn't like it. I disliked it a lot, in fact. Really didn't like it. Finally got used to it, absolutely love it, can't get enough of it. Digital viewfinder, best invention ever. Being able to see the actual result of the picture that you're taking, just change the settings while you're looking through the viewfinder to see the outcome of the picture that you're going to take is just amazing. And again, there's a lot less missed images there. Sometimes A couple might be walking from inside church to outside church. I'd keep shooting on the DSLR, look down, load of overexposed or underexposed images. With this, you can see straight away as the lighting change as you back out of a church. So you just quickly change your settings. There you go, all your images are right again. So digital viewfinder, absolute tick, must have, 10 out of 10, would do again. Another thing to mention, which I've actually noticed on commercial jobs as well as on weddings, is the ISO can be pushed much higher. Currently I'm happy to shoot on the R6 at about 12,800 ISO, no problem. The grain's there. You can dial it down a little bit in Lightroom, but it handles it a lot better than the 5D. I just feel like I'm just slagging this off. It's been my baby for the last 5 years, but time to go, I think. But yeah, on the 5D, I think I'd have gone to about 6,400 ISO. Wouldn't have been happy going past that. Too grainy, unusable. But with the R6, I've shot at double that, and I'm still happy to use those pictures. Little bit of grain. And just talking about the 5D, obviously I shoot on the 5D and I use back button focus. That's the only setting I use on there, manual and back button focus. I've managed to set up back button focusing on the Canon R6 as well. And again, it's just absolutely great. And it's great because you'd set it up on the 5D. If anything moved slightly further or back, they were out of that focus range. And if you hadn't pressed that button again for the back button focusing, they were blurry, they were out of focus. The R6, you set your back button focusing, you can recompose, and you can see the square around the subject you've chosen to focus on. So say I focused on a tree, squares around the tree, I recompose, and I can see the camera's constantly moving focus back to the tree, wherever I'm moving the camera. As long as that tree's still in frame, it's refocusing, and the back button focus is just an absolute game changer again. So if you're not already using that on the R6, if you've already got it, give it a go. So now my only issue with the Canon R6, and it's probably not even that much of a big issue, I've been told that you can change settings in the menu to get around this. This might take a bit of explaining. If I've got an off-camera flash, this is the situation that I'm having trouble with it in. If I've got an off-camera flash and I'm exposing in the viewfinder for the flash on a dance floor, there's hardly any light, maybe a couple of cheap DJ disco lights, not lighting up the scene at all. I'm exposing for the flash, I look through the viewfinder, everything's pretty much dark. The viewfinder in that situation will brighten up to get focus and then go dark again. So it's not changing the exposure, it's just changing what you're looking at through the viewfinder. For some reason, on a dark disco night, it's not going bright enough and it's really struggling to find focus. You can just see people's silhouettes and they're just going in and out of focus and it just can't get focus. And I don't know what to do about that. That is where the 5D obviously shines through, because it doesn't need light. Well, it does need light, but the 5D can get focus because you're looking at it through the real world. You're just looking through a mirror, so whatever's in that viewfinder is what's there. So if you've got that tiny bit of light, you can see that tiny bit of light, use your back button focus, and it gets the focus. But with the R6, personally, I don't think it handles dance floors very well when you're exposing for flash. So your exposure without the flash is obviously dark until the flash lights up the image. So my lip stuck to my tooth there. So I don't know what to do about that, basically. I've been told that you can do it, that you can make your viewfinder brighter without adjusting your settings. I need to look at how to do that. Other than that, to answer the big question, would I just get two R6s? Is that a big question? It's a question I ask myself. Are you bothered? But yeah, I would. If I can get around that issue of focusing on the dance floor, I get a lot more shots on the 5D when I'm exposing for flash than I do with the R6. The R6 viewfinder is just dark, can't get focus, the flash flashes, the images are blurry. So if I can get around that, and if it's fast at focusing on the dance floor in a dark situation like that before the flash is fired, perfect. I'd get two R6s and I'd sell you, baby.